How's it going, guys? Welcome to the show. This is Rencast with me, Ren26. I've got a webcam, I've got XSplit, I've got scene stuff, so that's all very exciting. Welcome to the show. We've got Natural Selection 2 today. We've got two matches. The first one we've got is going to be coming up very shortly. It's Aphex versus Vexta. Should be a pretty good game. They're pretty even. And also I want to go through before the match starts some news stuff. So obviously we've come off the Natural Selection 2 World Championship about a month ago now. I think it was actually 5 weeks ago from this weekend. And if you guys remember that, you might remember how awesome it was. And hopefully these season games are going to be just as good. This weekend's going to be a pretty good week. I'm going to be casting two matches today. And I'm now going to be doing another one tomorrow, which should be really good. That's going to be Imagine versus someone else, can't remember. And also I'm going to be co-casting with Wasabi. So a great weekend for NS2. Before that, though, I want to go through some ENSL balance mod and rule changes. So this week we're going to be playing on Summit and Tram, I believe it is. But there are also some rules that have been changed. So some of the balance changes I want to go through that have been implemented for all games that are going to be coming up from now onwards. So I'll just go through the list briefly and explain how the changes might affect the game. So some stuff has been nerfed for the aliens. You've got mucous membrane now heals hit points instead of armor. That's an interesting one, and we'll see how that plays out. It's not necessarily a nerf; it kind of changes things, and we'll see what kind of impact that has. It certainly, I think, makes Shell Crag Hive a little bit less valuable, but we'll see. Initial blink cost has been reduced quite drastically, so that should help the fades when they're trying to fight in combat. Should allow them to stay in combat and then leave a little bit later, so that should help the fades out a lot. So that's an initial blink cost of energy down for the fades. So it looks like a delay has been added to the Marines using phase gate. So before it was 0 seconds. What that means is that when a Marine uses a phase gate, the Marine behind him can use that phase gate without any delay. He can go straight through. With this mod that's coming up, we've got a 0.5 second delay on top of those phase gates. So when anyone goes through that, it has to be 0.5 seconds before anyone else can go through. So that's really interesting. Should make it harder to sort of stack through the phase gates and then defend rooms that had no one in, and maybe you get two spawning at the same time, two Marines, instead of them coming through at the same time and defending it. There's a little bit of a delay there, which should help the aliens a little bit, because certainly the aliens struggling a little bit, certainly in those NS2WC matches we saw. Increased nutrient mist costs slightly. We'll see how that. I don't think that will change much. An interesting one is decreased cyst maturity time from 180 seconds to 60 seconds. So what that means is, and if you're not actually aware of it, alien buildings increase in health over time, so they start on a basic amount of health once they're built, and then that improves quite drastically, I think up to like 2 times in certain cases. And certainly with cysts on pub games, you'll notice sometimes recently built cysts are very low on health, and then later on in the game, after a couple of minutes, they've got about 500 HP. So what we've got here is a decreased maturity time for those cysts, so it takes less time for them to get to max health, but the cyst hit points has been reduced. The max has gone 550 to 450, so you'll be able to clear an entire cyst with just one clip of a rifle, even though it's at full cyst maturity, but the maturity will be earlier. So that's a really interesting change, and that should help the Marines clear out a room of cysts even at the late stages. Reduced biomass, so there's huge changes in terms of biomass, costs of buildings and stuff, really big changes, and I do need to make sure I'm joining the server on time. So basically the changes are increased cost for shift, shade, crag and whip, so those are all your special buildings. All of those have been increased from 10 to 13 resources, which should be a pretty big impact on the PvE we see, especially early on, and reduced biomass costs as well. So what they've done is shift the costs from the PvE buildings to the nice couch, yeah. Move the cost from the PvE buildings that are a little bit more static, a little bit less interesting, to the upgrades. So then the alien commander can sort of prioritize upgrades a little bit more because they're a bit more incentivized because of the cost. So you've got let's just double check the numbers. Spur, Veil and Shell costs have been reduced from 20 to 15. Now that's massive. Usually when you saw a Spur go down or something like that early on, it was a huge loss because that's 20 T-Res and maybe 40 if they get 2 of them. Now it's not quite so much. 15 is a little bit more manageable. That should help alien commanders get up those triple Spurs, for example, nice and early. And then later on when they get the second hive, or in fact if they lose any of those things by getting killed, that should help them out sustain longer, which is something the Marines don't have to worry about because the arms lab replaces that stuff. There's some more changes as well. So we've got the changes from, in general you see a little bit more of a shift from those special buildings to the upgrade buildings. And also we've got huge changes to biomass and lifeform upgrades. So reduced biomass cost of the upgrade from 20 to 15. So biomass upgrade +1 on the hive cost 20, now it costs 15. Biomass 2 cost from 30 to 20. So that's a massive saving on biomass. So we'll be seeing commanders go for that probably a lot more. Biomass in general, it sort of increases health a little bit, not anything too significant, although it builds up quite well. Makes skulks are quite a lot harder to kill later on. But overall, it's there to upgrade the life form upgrades. So you've got those extra spells. I call them spells because they essentially are. You've got stuff like Leap, Bile Bomb, Umbra, that kind of stuff we see quite often. Charge is also a very popular one. So the biomass cost has gone down to support that, and then the life form upgrade costs have gone down as well. Skulk is now 20 to 15. Gorge has gone from 30 to 20, which is a really significant one because Gorge is a very popular one, especially early on. We'll see it even earlier now. Lurk's gone from 35 to 25. Lurk with Umbra is really powerful. You'll need the second hive because it's 4 biomass total, and the hive still costs 40. But overall, you can get to that Umbra a lot earlier, and that's going to help you a lot. Umbra is significant, especially with an Onos and a Gorge in play. If you've got a Lurk on top providing Umbra, that's significant. That's going to save you a lot of time. You're going to be doing a lot more damage. Fade, whatever, who cares? No one ever buys Fade upgrade because it's kind of terrible. Onos has been reduced from 35 to 30. I thought it was 30 anyway. So a slight decrease in the Onos upgrade cost. Not too significant. The more significant ones are Lurk and Skulk, and even Gorge, actually. Gorge is probably the most significant one, because 20 resources is something that most commanders can afford very early, as opposed to the 30, which is quite a lot more early on. Increased Lurk Egg Team Resource Drop Biomass Requirement. Well, that's the most convoluted sentence ever. Basically, before Lurk Eggs, you could buy them on top of an egg. You can upgrade an egg to a Lurk Egg so that anyone could just pick that up. And that had a biomass requirement of 2. That's either a hive and a hive or a hive and a biomass. And actually we saw quite a lot recently, just after the NS2WC, was the teams were going for that second biomass really early, grabbing that +1 off of the hive. So that was only 20. And then they'd grab a Lurk Egg with the T-Res. You'd have a Lurk up at the 1.5 minute mark. Now, I thought that was a pretty fair investment. But clearly with these changes to biomass cost, that's going to be way off. That wouldn't work at all because you'd have people doing it every time, because the reduced biomass cost to 20 to 15 would make it so much more valuable. So they've increased the biomass requirement for Lurk Eggs to 4, and I believe Fade and Onos will still be at 9, which is pretty much unheard of. You know, we won't be seeing any of that. So that's a lot of interesting changes, and overall I think the impact will be, if we do see Crags and Whips, we'll be seeing less of them. We'll be seeing a lot more biomass upgrades because in general they're cheaper, and then the things that they benefit are cheaper as well. So stuff like Gorge upgrade and Lurk upgrade, we'll probably be seeing those sooner. And this in general should help aliens try and compete with the Marines. I think these changes are kind of in place, and I spoke to the Snails guys about this. I believe it was actually Kingo specifically. I was asking him, okay, so what's going on? Why are the Marines winning so much? And he mentioned this idea that once the Lurk comes up, it's extremely hard for the aliens to keep getting stronger. Obviously, they don't really have any upgrades there. Just grabbing the password. So obviously, at that 4-minute mark, I have changed the stream names. Yep. Okay. At the 4-minute mark, obviously you get your lurks out, and at that point you don't get stronger. Because once the lurks comes out, you're just waiting for the fades, and you already have your triple spur up, and if you don't, you're kind of delayed anyway, so you're just sort of matching and trying to catch up. So there was an issue where the aliens weren't really getting stronger in terms of spending that T-res. It's all about the P-res and just getting those fades a little bit earlier, and essentially meant that if the Marines could get their weapons 2, armor 1, and shotguns out before the fades, it kind of meant every game was kind of the same, and Marines sort of had an advantage. So this actually helps the aliens invest some of the T-res not into just PvE stuff that's kind of disappears eventually, but actually stuff that matters. So those biomass upgrades, which is really good in my opinion. That's nice to see. So I'm just waiting for the password at the moment, and then we will be going live. So what I've got today is Aphex versus Vexta on the first game, so that's at 8 o'clock. So that's, you know, we're a little bit late, but that's expected. And then in 3 hours' time, we've got another match coming up. That's going to be starting at 11 PM GMT, which is going to be midnight European time, which is going to cause a little bit of issues in terms of working it out, because obviously the clocks are changing over Europe, so I don't really know how to explain it to you. But basically, after this is done, from 3 hours from this point, and I'll remind you of the actual point afterwards, we'll be working on that out when the match is up. So that's Aphex versus Vexta at this point, and then after that we've got another match. We've got On Fire versus Rays, which should be a pretty interesting game, because On Fire, pretty strong European team, and Rays are one of the strongest Australian teams, so that's going to be really interesting. Hopefully we'll be going with the server soon. Okay, looks like people are joining a server now. I just need to get the password. Okay, I got the title wrong slightly and I'm unable to edit it, which is unfortunate. The team's actually called Vexta. I've written it wrong. I think we'll all get by. I don't think it's a big problem. Great, I'm joining the server now. Nice one, guys. So we should be coming up soon. Hopefully that should swap to the gameplay. Yep. Excellent. So this should be a pretty good even match. I mean, it's going to be Americans versus Europeans, which always causes slight issues with the ping and stuff. One team will have a slight disadvantage. Usually the numbers are going to be something like the Europeans will have 30 MS, the Americans will have about 150, and then it'll swap when we go to the next server, probably doing that. To keep it fair, we'll swap round at the halfway point probably. Overall, I find that the impact on the winning team is usually not there. Usually the better team wins despite the slight ping disadvantages, especially when you swap at the halfway point. Obviously this is going to be 2 maps, playing 4 rounds. Teams are just playing for points at this point, so we're at that league stage where people just want as many points as possible, so it doesn't get to the point where it's 3-0 and people are going to give up. Every round counts for a point, so it looks like, you know, they're going to not give up, hopefully push out for a win every time. These early games are actually more interesting, I think, because the teams are looking to sort of step ahead of the rest of the competition, so they're each in groups, and these first few games count because they sort of want to set themselves ahead of other people. They don't have to worry about it later on. They want to win these early games and get ahead, so that'll be interesting to see if the team step up a little bit here. So I'm just about joined. Pre-caching always speeds up near the end. And there it goes. Excellent. So looks like the first map is going to be Summit, or is it Tram? It's Tram. It's random. I believe the what is it? A fixed northern spawn for the Marines, southern spawn for the aliens, or is it the other way around? I can't quite remember. But basically, we got a fixed spawn. So what that means is when we start the Tram round, we might get a few restarts to fix the fact that we're trying to enforce certain spawns on on these teams. Basically, for the fact that we can, if things are more controlled and less, less random, more predictable, then it enforces a little bit more of a standard game, so you can't complain about the fact, oh, they got a northern spawn, which is a clear advantage. Minimise that by forcing teams to have a particular spawn. So we may be seeing a few restarts on Tram. Nothing's really changed with the map. We'll probably be seeing some basic stuff, a couple of tunnels maybe, depending on how the gorges are feeling, depending on if the aliens want those gorges. And usually we see some pretty basic plays on from the Marines. They usually do the 1-1 split, maybe with 2 on one side, 2 guys to hub. 2 guys in hub, and then that first engagement really does define the game quite a lot. So it's really important to get that first engagement and see which team comes out on top, or if it's kind of even. So, and generally it's the team that plays more aggressively and hunts the other that succeeds in that first fight, and that first fight really counts. It kind of sets the pace. So that'll be a really interesting one to watch. We may not see at all an engagement in hub. A lot of alien teams actually just bypass hub. For example, if you get a server in spawn, maybe you just go straight through the vent and crush observation. Usually teams respond to that by not actually building the extractor, which is the valuable part of observation. They save, they don't build it until they know when the aggression has come. And if it's on the other side or in hub, then they say, okay, well, we're safe in here. Let's build it up. That way we're not risking our extractor quite so much. Same in logistics. So we might be seeing a big crush, but we usually see that quite a lot more often these days. So usually doesn't cost teams too much, but it'd be a big mistake to build extractors up without knowing where those aliens are initially. So it can cost you an early extractor, and that can be big. That can really set the pace as well. I'll be expecting to see a little bit less crag and whip, perhaps a crag early on near a tunnel or something, just to keep the fight and the momentum going. So you obviously don't want your skulks to fall back every time, and actually if the skulks can fight around a crag, that's a significant combat boost. But with the increase in cost, it may be a little bit less popular, and obviously the decrease in cost with the spurs, shells and veils, it's going to make those a lot more popular. So probably we'll be seeing a little bit earlier of those 3 and less of the PvE stuff, which I think most competitive players are happy with. Most competitive players seem to not quite like the PvE stuff, the whips, the crags, and to me it's just an element of the gameplay Although I don't play the game. Obviously, I just watch. But to me, it's just an element of gameplay you have to accept and deal with. And I don't think it's particularly frustrating, or it's like the other team is winning based on artificial intelligence that they are sort of abusing or anything. It seems to me perfectly fair and reasonable to be doing that stuff. Anyway, I'm going to be ready. Hopefully these teams ready up soon. They should be. We've had plenty of time. Obviously, these NS2 teams are notorious for taking their time. And I do much prefer just to go into the game and start casting and watching. And I'm sure you guys do too, compared to this nonsense blabbering. I'd be interested to see how the metagame shifted from the NS2WC and with the balance changes. In that we were seeing a lot of double lurks, and double lurks are particularly good these days. It's a lot more significant to have 2 lurks than 1. Generally you want that second lurk to be supporting the first, and they can work together well and win combat together. If you've only got 1 lurk, it's going to cost you, and it's just going to make those individual lurks just far less valuable. They can't, they've got nothing to work with apart from some skulks, and those are usually the first targets. And they go down quite quickly, depending on the Marine team. So we need to be seeing double lurks, in my opinion, especially with maybe a gorge or a crag to keep them in the fight longer. Perhaps tunnels so they can go back to the hive and get back out onto the fight a lot sooner. Then we see 1 or 2 fades. Probably be seeing 2 fades these days with the changes to the energy costs. A reduction in energy costs makes them a lot more valuable up against Marine enemies. A lot better at the sort of anti-infantry stuff. And clearly they're still just as bad in the sort of building damage, which is one of their significant weaknesses, is they just can't kill buildings at all. It's not worth them trying. But clearly a decrease in cost is going to be significant for them. So maybe a double fade play and then a single Onos, or it depends on whether they go gorge or not. So there's a lot of variables at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see how these teams deal with that. Marines in general should be pretty much the same. Arms lab, mines, armor 1, weapons 1, armor 2, shotguns, and then phase gates a little bit later than everything else. I mean, it's pretty much depends on the money they've got, but the order is generally the same. And it's all about getting that earlier than the fades, or just trying to beat the aliens, trying to get the stuff out quicker than they can. So we'll see events basically the pace that the Marines can set. So it looks like everyone's ready. We check out the pings. We've actually got an average of 70 on the Aphex guys, and an average of about 130 on the Vexta guys. Actually, we'll go through the roster lineups. People like that. So for Vexta, we've got 6 players. We've got Revilo on Commander. We've got Tyra, Kilo, Jimmy, Fear, and Wise Guy was actually pubbing with Fear earlier. These are mainly a UK team, I believe, and they've got a couple of Germans, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not a flag expert, but that was my impression of the flag. And then on the other side, on the aliens, we've got an American team. We've got Tag Wolf, Tornal, Dover, Zoloko, Vaticide, and Jacob. And I think that implies this is some kind of American server. So Vexta are ready. Aphex are. We're waiting for them. And we should have a pretty good game here. I suspect these. I think these teams are in Division 2, so I'll just double check that. 2A specifically. And I believe they're evenly matched. We'll see. We'll see. But it should be a pretty fun game. We've got a little bit of a strangeness, so that they keep telling me to say Avid. So they'll be loving that. I'm sure they'll be happy about that now. A little bit of shout out to them. Couple of comments about my house, or whatever you want to call it, apartment. Yeah, there's a sofa in the back. I never use the sofa because I don't have a TV, because I have a computer. So it's just how people live these days. "30 seconds, interesting. So the rule they're referring to in the chat there is it gets to that 30-second period, and before that you're allowed to, actually we're going live, so I'll talk about that later. Excellent, so we're going live right now. This is Vexta versus Aphex in the NSL Season 4 matchup. We're in the round stages and hopefully don't get a restart based on the spawns. Shipping spawn for the Marines, actually that's a little bit of a restart, so it looks like they're going to be restarting until they get the spawn they want, which maybe they crashed the server. No, it looks fine, Okay. Okay, so we're going to be restarting a few times just to get the Marine Northern spawn, Alien Southern spawn, and perhaps that's it. No, they were not actually live yet. Okay. Excellent. Ah, damn it! This is just tiresome. Again, we're going for that northern spawn for the Marines, so we'll restart until it's enforced by RNG. It's just there to kind of enforce the same standards on both teams, so when we swap sides, neither team will be upset that they had a disadvantage about the spawn, so we'll just wait for that one to come through. Alright, that's the last time I'm doing that, obviously, because that's ridiculous. It's quite loud. Alright, nice one. We're going live. We've got a southern spawn for the aliens and a warehouse spawn for the Marines. Early armory, probably going for mines, not a problem. And a 3-2 split for the aliens. Shift hive's actually been evolved. And we're seeing assist to logistics. So clearly an early shift hive. Either they want to get the mucous membrane. Actually, no, it's going to be enzyme involved in the first few fights. Or early spurs. So we've got Fear and Kilo pushing very heavily into hub, and actually we've only got one player holding them off, and all processing is the point of combat for these guys. 3 sculpts right up against the enemy base. Tyra in defense, and with the extracted blueprinted but not actually built yet. Very nice flanking from these skulks. They're all quite low actually, maybe an average of about 50% there. Pushing into the spawn and bringing those Marines back, so they will be unsuccessful in this actual engagement. They probably won't take anything out, but it's really, really successful to bring all the Marines back. And look at this, 40 seconds in, and 4 out of the 6 Marines are currently in warehouse. That's really valuable to the aliens, so that means they can get logistics up without any issues, not at all. Fear, he's parasited, he's coming south, so they have actually sent one of their guys nice and aggressive into observation, which hasn't been sisted up. There's no harvester there, so not particularly valuable to have him there at this point, but it's, it's slowing them down. It makes sure they can't build that one up, and they're actually going for repairing, which is interesting. Let's check out hub again. We've got Kilo parasited up against Dover and Vaticide. You can see that yellow health, that yellow name indicator telling us that he's parasited. Tyra has gone back to all processing, built it up, platform's been built, and a good job from Jimmy, who didn't go back to defend, I believe, and actually just built up platform at Severum, putting the Marines on that 4 extractors nice and early. Very good, and they haven't lost one yet. Vaticide and Tournay struggling to get into our processing, but it actually looks like the Jacob and Dover have taken hub, forced Kilo back. Kilo doing a little bit of harass from long range onto Dover, and we'll see if that pans out for him. So Loco, nice little bit of damage, that's 30% onto that, and he's actually brought these guys back from Severum, which allows one of the skulks to do damage on that extractor. Vaticide and Tornell trying to flank round, take on Tyra, who's now on his pistol, gets out his rifle because he was using his pistol just for the long range. Rifle is full, he's actually just about empty, but he's taken one of the skulks down. Tornell retreating through the hub, and we'll see actually if Kilo deals with him. He's parasited, Tornell knows about this. He's slowing these guys down, and they're forcing him to hunt, have them hunt him, but not a problem in terms of the kills. So they're a little bit slowed down, but no kills. The aliens struggling a little bit in combat right now. We saw a nice engagement in all processing in the first minute, but after that, it's been very Marine-sided. And in fact, they even built observation with Fear there, who they did not deal with. Aliens really struggling right now overall. You've got 2 skulks up in repair and trying to take on Tyra, who's taken a parasite. He's got the long range though, and they're struggling to get into this position through the columns. And actually, Zoloco is now getting tagged from behind, and Tyra gets the pistol kill onto Vaticide. Zoloco is now trying to take him, missing a lot of these bites, and then the pistol finishes up from Kilo and Tyra. Nice teamwork. And Tornell's going to find it very difficult to take those guys on. He actually takes the retreat into our processing. 6 extractors up for Vexta at this point, and that's all because Aphex are really struggling to get kills. Check the team kills, 10-1. They got 1 kill in that first 30 seconds, and after that they are struggling hardcore to get any kills, and that's because they look a little bit disorganized. They're running about on their own, and they're getting hunted really nicely by these Marines. Soloka with the enzyme comes very fast into Kilo, takes him on, and finally we've got 3 skulks together in retired repair room, and they need to step it up massively right now because they're way behind on money, and they're going to be if they don't take any of these extractors out anytime soon. Tyra, look how aggressive he is, pushing into this repair room, even despite the fact that he knows that there's 3 skulks in there. One of them actually involving a lurk inside the vent, and Tornell pushed onto a processing deal with one of these extractors. Dover versus Fear, the 1v1. Nice. Fear takes another skulk down, and again, this is a serious struggle for the aliens right now. The lurks have come out, so they did have the 3 harvesters up all this time. It was a pretty high-res game for both teams. Lurks are up on time. And Vaticide is doing a great job of taking out Tyra, the whip there with the long-range bar bomb, keeping his armor low, and the poison and the bites taking him out. So this is a tough one for the aliens, but they're stepping it up a little bit. They're getting a lot more kills now than they were previously, but it's still not enough. A triple skulk play into observation. They need to clear this guy without losing any skulks because they're going to need the building damage. And it looks like Fear might take one of them out. Dover with very low health does finish him off. Fantastic play from Fear. And that's really important. Even taking one of those skulks out is significant because now it means observation is going to take a lot longer to take out. And Tornell there if he'd had a teammate, he might have even been able to take on a hub. So it all matters. It really matters, all of these kills at this point. Jimmy and Wise Guy teaming up for hub and Tyra from the flank into repair room. Whip being built, and they're spending a lot of money on this PvE stuff, which is a little bit more expensive with the changes and not particularly effective at this point, especially when it's not built and just getting hunted. Tyra and Jimmy actually doing a great job of taking out the Skulk almost. The Lurk is extremely low. Vaticide with about 20% HP just about gets out, but they've cleared the room, cleared the Skulk, and that leaves them extremely vulnerable. Look at all this stuff. It's a lot of T-Res who will now probably lose at this point, and it looks like the Lurk went down. Wise Guy and Kilo were actually in a flanking position in logistics, so very good job from them. And I think at this point they're probably going to be trying to call some base pushes. You can see the positioning is actually there. Tornal and Zoloko on a 20% HP each. Wow, Marines playing extremely aggressive, very successful in combat, and Aphex really aren't keeping up at this point. I feel like after the first couple of minutes where they really struggled, after that point, there was so much money involved, and now the Marines have really taken advantage of that. And going to make it very difficult for the aliens to catch up. Despite that, aliens still have 3 harvesters, which is pretty good, and they've actually got on top of the extractors that were surplus. You know, the 4 is about an average. They've taken the 7 out. They've gone from 7 to 4, and now even harassing the 2 that they've got in this northern side. So really good pickup from Aphex in terms of the res harass, despite the fact that they were still struggling for kills. A little bit of a standoff server room. Kilo and Tornal, they know where each other are, which is interesting. Logistics is going down, so it looks like the aliens are going to be losing these 3 harvesters, and are going to be down to 1. Unless Dover can take on 2 Marines who have got weapons 1, armor 1 almost, and a phase gate going down with the power already built. The Harvester just behind them going down. Harvester and Repair Room is taken out, and the aliens need to step up and go for a base push or something significant, because they're about to have a phase gate outside their base. Finish the extractor. Wow, this is a tough one, but I think they need to go for a base push. Although the phase gate is going to make it difficult, because that means that the Marines are in position to defend as well as attack. So we'll see how they respond. Both teams are extremely low res at this point, but the Marines have already taken a huge advantage from the fact that they've sucked up so much res. You can see a significant advantage that they've got weapons 1, armor 1, shotguns, phase gates, and even a phase gate net built up as well. So, and Fear and Kilo hunting this northern side for a recap. Taking these guys out. It looks like Vaticide has made it through, but then as soon as they know that he's made it through, you've got a guy in base, and he actually goes through the whole processing, which isn't built. So this is a tough one for the aliens. They're really not stepping up. They've taken out the extractors, which is going to harm the Marines, but they've also lost their harvesters, so it's going to hurt them as well. And the positioning and the upgrades are massively in the advantage of Marines right now. Zoloko gets a nice kill there. Should allow him to take out Repair Room. Actually, no. You've got Tyra coming in to back him, his extractor up. Zoloko there, very low health, taking out this extractor, which is even covered by infestation, which is going to do a little bit of armor damage. Tyra with a nice kill. Fantastic job clearing up the Marines that were on this phase gate, and then clearing one of the guys that comes through and gets grinded up nice and tight. Tagwolf, Tornal and Jacob with the Skulk staying in position, and you get the Lurk retreating for the HP, and he'll probably come back in nice and soon. So you've got the 2 Spurs in play up against weapons 1, shotguns, armor 1 at the 7-minute mark. So the Marines significantly lower now. You can see that's plateaued quite significantly compared to that. I mean, that's a significant decrease in the gradient there, and that's because of the fact that they're running out of extractors. They are replacing them now, so they have prioritized the recapping. You can see they've got a couple of guys up in platform and hub and repair room. It's a lot more defensive. That's probably an indication of the phase gate's gone down. In fact, that might be one of the reasons. They had 2 guys up in north tunnels, not defending the phase gate, but having to go for the recap. So the aliens have played this perfectly. Go for the extractors, spread the Marines thin, then once they are thin, go for the important stuff like the phase gates where they're weak. Group up for those kind of pushes where you're pretty much guaranteed to win. A 5v2, you've got to win those, and if you don't, you've got a serious problem you need to address. It's beyond the game at that point. You need to work out your skill level. So they've stepped up and they've done well. Replacing some of these harvesters, so it looks like logistics and observation might have been dropped. Tyra takes another kill in the same position onto Jacob, just to say this extractor, but he actually takes the extractor down. That's important, and the Vexta guys are only on 3 extractors at this point, and it looks like Aphex are picking it up and going to be on 3 harvesters very soon. Observation and logistics are built. That's going to put them on fades very soon, actually. You've got 35 P-res saved up for Jacob and a couple of others. Still no gorging play, but they've got plenty of P-res for the fades, and then even saving for the Onos as well, which is very nice. We'll probably just see the 2 fades. I think the 3 fades would probably be a mistake due to the lack of building damage. Jimmy with a shotgun doing a lot of damage, and they've come in all disparately, one at a time. That's a big mistake. Tornal comes in when they're on the reload, because these guys are actually not particularly efficient at killing those aliens, so he's come in just as when they were weak. Which is really nice for the aliens, but I think the Marines probably could have taken it due to the mistake they made of coming in 1 by 1, essentially. Tornal sneaks past, heading to server room. If it's built, Fear is actually building it and probably defending it as well. Dover coming in from behind onto Tyra. Really nice damage onto him, and he's extremely low. No med packs come in. That's significant. That's a really important aspect of this game right now. Marines are only on 4 extractors, which means if they do invest in the med packs for the fights, they're not going to be getting that weapons 2 anytime soon. And that's remarkable. The fact that they have weapons 1 up at about the 4 or 5 minute mark, and they're still not on weapons 2, because the aliens have really played this really nicely. They've warmed up. They've got a lot smarter, and they're taking this fight for themselves now. Jacob going on to Wise Guy, who does have armor 1, but he's parasited. Nice positioning. A little hook there. Comes round with the parasite, taking advantage of the fact that he can see him and had a sneak attack. But needed the triple bite to finish him and wasn't quite able to pull that off. Tornal and Vexta looking for hub play, but I think they'll struggle here because they're both a little bit low. They got positioning the Marines there. A whipping play to defend up against Wise Guy and Jimmy. Tornal and Zoloco, well, the mist goes down to try and mature these buildings a little bit sooner. Tornal and Zoloco, in fact, a lot of aliens in position here. Wise Guy struggling now, he's on low health. Jimmy actually all alone, his teammate gets a kill, but they've cleared that up nicely, nice and quick, and now Hub has got a phase gate. But they've cleared the aggression, so that should allow them to support maybe a 4th harvester and repair room, perhaps. Certainly not an elevator. They'll be mad to drop that at this point because they haven't had anyone there recently, and in fact there is a Marine there. Backside comes through, double shotgun into Hub, and they're all struggling to hit these attacks now. And looks like the base might be vulnerable. No, 2 guys stop all processing. They almost had a guy through to North Tunnels. The incredible amount of RT harass at this point is really valuable. They've got the 5 extractors up, which has allowed them to get that weapons 2 up. And they didn't quite finish all processing. It's got the weld now. This is going to be a tough one for the aliens because now the Marines can afford to go way more offensive. They've got them in observation. You'll see these guys probably come through to logistics, and the fades are up. So that's perfect timing. Just when they're about to be crippled and take a lot of damage, they got the single fade up. In fact, they double fade. So that's really nice to see. And we'll see if these guys actually step it up with these fades and start turning this around, because the whole time the aliens are keeping up just about, but they've definitely not been ahead at any point. And we'll probably see that from the graphs as well. Fear and Kilo, double defense on this phase gate with the shotguns, and it looks like the other guys are sort of rotating around, trying to do a little bit of attack. Bad play from Jacob. He's been scanned. They know about him. He tries to hide in the corner with the 2 shotgunners coming up from him, and luckily he didn't take any significant damage from that first blast. Scout gets topped by Jimmy there. Nice shot from him. Single attack takes him on. You've got this little glass here. It looks like Zoloka is trying to sneak around on these guys. If he can get through, turn their line of fire, and maybe get the teammates in from behind. In fact, the Lurk's going for that position. And they're going in on there now. Jacob takes a huge hit. He's very low already. Jimmy's taking a lot of damage from the whip and the attacks. Jacob's still low. He goes back in for Tyra, who's actually struggling there with the reloading, but he's still got plenty of health. Actually, wow, no med packs, and he gets taken up by ranged attacks. They need to go offensive, though. The aliens, they were defending at this point. There's so many extractors up. They need to step it up, push out, start clearing these extractors, and that's one of the weaknesses of these fades, is that they can't do any building damage. So you've got to make sure you've got your priorities from Tornal there, and another Skulk Vaticide. That needs to be his priorities, going on these extractors. Jimmy pushes through from the phase gate hub, and actually the phase gate hub is maybe a little bit vulnerable. You've got 2 shotgunners and a couple of respawns, so if they leave it longer, it's probably defensible now. That's pretty much safe at this point. But because they had to sit and defend that at that point when it was essentially vulnerable, they've lost all processing, repair rooms taking damage, and platform. They've got to go through the platform, and that's really valuable. That's awesome. Jimmy's coming through to try and defend it, but he's going to commit 2 skulks at this point with his shotgun, and he can certainly take them with his shotgun at this point, but he needs to actually hit those shots, otherwise he's going to struggle. Nice pistoling from long range. Cat packs coming out. If they can keep the extractors up, that's a great play. If they lose a lot of extractors right now, that's a really bad decision. So they're obviously hoping that they keep these extractors up. Tyra, single shotgun defense in repair room. Zoloka comes through, doesn't quite hit the swipe, and gets a nice shot from the shotgun blast. Observation has gone down. Wise Guy soloed a Crag and a Harvester, and he's even building up the extractor there. Jacob sneaking around. They've called the team play. It's only 1 guy, and they're investing 4 aliens into this. It's a really bad sign. It's a symbol of the fact that they're a lot weaker at this point. They need huge amounts more aliens invested in fights to keep up, and there's the shotgun blast that are killing these skulks in 1 hit. Because they've only got a triple spur, 2 biomass, which is a little bit of a boost, but not enough to keep your skulks alive after a shotgun blast to the face. Arc Factory is started, cat packs are done. This is going to be extremely difficult. This is when the Marines get a lot stronger, can afford to be a lot more aggressive, take on these fades, push them hard, and clear them up. Nice kill onto that Lurk. That was very long range. A lot of scans going down, so they're investing hugely. And wow, look how aggressive they are. They know they've got the cat packs. They're investing a lot of med packs as well, and they want to take the fight on the hive, so the fades have got nowhere to retreat. And in fact, they've taken them down to 20% HP around the hive. Look how defensive they have to be. They're flying about the roof at this point. We can get a bit of a perspective on that. Both of these fades, look how defensive they are. They're doing no damage. They're doing absolutely nothing in this fight right now. Just trying to stay alive and heal. And the shotgunners are taking out all the skulks. And here comes a fade for the fight. Look at them. They can't compete. And all the time, the skulks are going down. They're losing eggs, and they're making the spurs vulnerable. Really good job. Jimmy, Fear, Kilo, and Wise Guy. They've got everything they need to win the game right now. They just have to keep the fades low. Here comes one of them. As soon as they come in, get a couple of shotgun blasts to scare them off. Another sculpt goes down off of an egg from the back of the room. Wow, that was maybe a mistake to push that at that point where they weren't quite as strong. The cat packs need to be being dropped. They got a lot of money. Harvester goes down. That's a really nice play, actually. That's going to cut them off for the next couple of minutes. They're going to be struggling for resources, even if they lose this fight and all the shotguns. And in fact, that was their play. Wise Guys decided, that's it, I'm getting out now. A little bit of a play onto Hub. Probably Wise Guy will go down at this point. Okay. They lost the power. So it looks like one of the skulks is actually in Hub, doing quite a significant amount of damage. The phase gate has gone down. 2 fades, 2 skulks. They didn't even lose the fade, so that's good news for the aliens, but I think they're still going to struggle due to the fact that they lost that harvester in their spawn. And the only other one they've got is in logistics, which has got so much money invested in it just to keep it alive, which means overall it takes a huge amount of time to start making profit on that. Observation's been dropped. Shipping hasn't been dropped, so I mean, that's a mistake. They definitely should be dropping that. Especially if they're investing in observation. I mean, you've got to think at this point. Observation is harder to hold than shipping. You've got to drop that, which is essentially just oversight from the an oversight from the Marine alien commander. Bataside sneaking through the tunnel. He's trying to go for a play in the base, but you've got that observatory, which is definitely going to be able to see him for the significant amount of that base area. He's even going for that target, and that's going to take about 20 bites to take that out. So that's a lot of time. Looks like this harvest is going to go down, which is probably going to put them on. 1 still, because logistics is still up, and they didn't even drop. They've dropped repair room, but not shipping. I mean, they didn't even notice they lost shipping, which is a big mistake. The phase gate going down on the right side at this point, and you can see the aliens doing it looks like they're doing all right. They've got cysts and harvesters, but overall they're sort of holding on, and they're making big investments into high risk stuff with these harvesters. Kilo almost soloing those 4 guys. You could see one of the fades was a little bit low, and a nice shotgun blaster. Dover would have cleared him. He could have maybe taken him with a nice cat pack, but that requires some significant aim. Fear soloing up against Jacob. Really nice damage onto Jacob. Takes him down very low, and all he's got to do is hit Bataside. Nice hit. Takes him down and scares off the fade, and that's the power of the weapons 2 shotgun at this point, even with armor 2 as well. His armor's obviously been taken off, so he could do with a teammate. But it's really nice to see him just being extremely aggressive and forcing the fades to sit around here whilst their base is vulnerable. And they have to come to defend now, leaving logistics vulnerable. Wise Guy's teammate's been taken out. Shotgun's probably going to be on the ground any second now, even with the medpack spam. But the phase gate is up. Jimmy comes out already equipped with a shotgun, playing defensively. Dover with the parasite. But at this point, it's just a long game, but the aliens are holding on. I really think at this point they're struggling now, and they've run out of options. They really need to just go for something crazy. Weapons 3 has started. That's with the 7 extractors up. That's going to be a pretty easy investment. That's going to be very easy to afford. The spur is low there. You can see these Marines right now. If they step it up, they can clear the fades. Maybe not kill them, but just scare them off like that. And this is it. Get them in this cyclone where they're just flying about the hive, trying to get their health back up. Clear the spurs and the eggs. That's it. Clear the spurs and the eggs, and then win the game. I mean, once the spurs are down, the skulks themselves will be so weak, and they won't be able to do anything. Vaticide just off the spawn. He hasn't actually got any upgrades at this point, so they have taken him out nice and quickly. Zoloko struggling on energy a little bit, but with the changes to the balance, he's still pretty safe. Fear trying to be sneaky. He's got very low health though. 1 swipe, double swipe, and he's down. Logistics still isn't down, but it looks like they've lost the Crag and the Whip that was defending it, and perhaps that was the Crag there. Trying to hold repair room. Kilo's doing a huge amount of damage. Taking out a harvester, a Crag, probably the Whip as well. The 2 fades finally come in, but it's after the base push, so they'll take him out, but he's already done the damage. 5 extractors still up and an arc play. I really think at this point they could probably, certainly with the weapons 3, okay, just hold it slowly, maybe get the weapons 3 up, then just clear the base. So I really think with weapons 3 you have everything you need. Maybe get a Mac, but they're probably going to go for arcs, which is, it's a longer play, it's maybe a little bit safer. As long as they cover their base, they don't want to lose anything in the base. Anything significant, certainly. Oh, wow, sentries. Okay. So that's a really long play. Jacob just going in and out of the hive. And maybe a push for the base. I mean, it's the only option the aliens have got. They've been out-teched. You can see the resources went back up. There was that plateau moment there that I discussed. But at this point, it's just all the way up. And it hasn't really stopped. I mean, the 6 extractors, the 7 extractors, that's what we've been seeing recently. And it's allowed them to invest in cat packs, med packs, weapons 3, art factories. They can afford anything they want at this point. Dover almost takes out the extractor. Jimmy comes out with the weld. It's kind of a little bit late at this point. It doesn't really matter if they have extractors. They've already They've already had the money, they've already invested it, and they're already stronger than the aliens. So killing extractors at this point is still valuable, but it's not going to turn their game quite so much. Tyra and Fear, just outside the alien base, they're finally doing damage to the hive itself. You can see it's on 79%. You've got two Fades just hiding, just trying to stay alive, doing their best to survive in this ridiculous environment. And the Fades, they're not actually taking a huge amount of damage from these shotguns. I mean, they could be probably a little bit more accurate, I really think. Jacob takes a nice blast there, but when there's two guys, they should be taking more than two nice blasts. So Loco struggling, Sentry takes him down with the assistance of the shotgun. That's really nice. And I think without the sentries, he actually would not have gone down, probably. Or he certainly would have had to retreat sooner, which is a nice decision with the sentries. They're really nice, actually. You can see there, the line of sight, just when they come out the door, the Skulks are certainly not getting out that door. They won't be able to get through anywhere. Not without taking significant damage. Here comes the arc play. There's the Onos. Wow, it's late. I mean, that's really delayed. And Tornal, the mist has gone down, so he will be set up with the Onos, but he's going to die straight away. He's going to, the first fight he goes in, he's going to go down. And if he doesn't, he won't get to the phase gate before the respawn wave comes through and takes him out. They know about it now. They've got the scan down. He's going to really struggle, and there's nothing else going on the map. So all the Marines are eventually going to converge on this point. Probably within the next 40 seconds, they're all going to be outside the base, just holding these arcs. And do they have a gorge? Doesn't look like it. Hive's just going to go down slow and steadily. Forcing the engagement. Oh wow, two Skulks are down. Tornal goes in. The Fade's going to leave pretty quickly. Tornal gets taken out almost immediately by the huge amount of damage from all of these guys. There's the GG. And let's look at the charts before the game ends. And you can see the Marines were pretty significantly ahead. And there was this nice plateau point, essentially at this point, where the aliens sort of caught up, but it was already a little bit late. So I think overall the aliens sort of lost such a huge amount of resources to the Marines, giving them that step ahead. And then after that, once they already had that step ahead, they almost kind of warmed up and got in position again and started playing well again and sort of matching them in combat and stuff. But it was too late. The Marines were already strong. They had the upgrades, and it made it very difficult for the aliens, I think. That was a good game. I want to see Aphex go again. I think they could probably do a little bit better this round. It looks like they may be a little bit nervous or a little bit not quite warmed up or not quite prepared. Those first couple of minutes, they had a quite smart decision, but they didn't do exceptionally well in terms of combat. And then they picked it up, which is nice to see. So we'll see how it goes in the second round. Overall, the Marines played really well. They just built up extractors. I think it was Fear. Fear just came straight through here in that first minute, and he just because they didn't clear him, they didn't take him on, which was a little bit cowardly. He just built up observation for free, and he took it, and that was resources for them that most teams don't usually get. And that was, another extractor for them. So that's pretty significant. Okay, good. So we should be going live soon. I wonder which team is not ready. Both teams. So they're probably discussing. I think probably Vexta are happy with the win, especially for the fact that maybe they were struggling more so to the end in terms of skill, but the significant upgrade advantage secured them the win. And maybe they want to discuss and say, okay, we won that, but maybe it wasn't quite as close as it could have been. Sorry, it was a little bit closer than it should have been. How are we going to step it up and take the next one securely? And maybe they're discussing kind of those early engagements, like where are we going to send our first few Skulks? Are we just going to crush observation? Are we going to try and take this, that, and the other? And the Marines are probably working out like how are we going to split this up? How are we going to have our guys take hub? How are we going to get into repair and elevator? And how are we going to deal with the fact that they could rush any side of our base? It's nice to know that people have no idea who I am. That's nice. That's nice. Keeps you humble. Oh, I'm getting messages on Skype. Twitch.tv/Ren26. Excellent. So, actually, this is a bit random. Me and my buddy are working on a new project on YouTube. It's a video series completely unrelated to this. How many RTs did they kill? Well, they had so many to choose from, obviously. What was I saying about the new video series? Me and a guy called Wooden Potatoes working on a new series. It's essentially summaries of stories. So new games, Titanfall, Last of Us, actually pretty good. They're quite easy to sort of work on. You just sort of write a basic script. He does some audio and visual stuff, and then we upload it once a week, and it's actually working out pretty well. So we're going to have a new episode up in a few hours. And if you want to check that out, just Google or YouTube search for Crayon Lore. That's Crayon Lore, as in story. And that's a nice series, and check that out if you have any interest in that kind of stuff. Other than that, follow me on Twitter if you want to. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to actually do that, but go ahead if you want to. Follow me on Twitch if you like what you see. So actually I'll discuss, so obviously I'm going live right now, so we've got 3 more rounds still from Aphex and Vexta. After this we've got On Fire versus Raze. That should be a really good game because those two teams are pretty well established and quite highly skilled. Certainly deserve those Division 1 spaces they have. After that we're going to bed, everyone. And then tomorrow I'll be going out, but when I get back I'll be casting with Wasabi on the Natural Selection 2 channel. That'll be the main channel. We'll be doing a really great game, Snails versus Titus, and the last time I watched them play, it was exceptional. It was 5 weeks ago, and it was goddamn awesome. So that'll be a few hours earlier than it was today, and then after that I'll be doing Sorneman versus Imagine, or have I made something up? That sounds right. Sorneman versus Imagine. A couple of hours after that. So there's a lot of NS2 this weekend. So. Follow me here and follow the NS2 main channel, so you should catch most of that. That'll be good. Those should be some good games, all of them. Oops. Excellent. So we are going live right now. We may get a couple of restarts, but we'll just hope. Okay, I did actually forget to do the outro and then swap to the discussion, but that's fine. I believe we'll be seeing a restart because that's not quite the correct spawn we want. I would think. Maybe not. I'll just forget. Yeah, these guys aren't live. So they're going to get a restart so that we get the northern spawn for the Marines, the southern spawn for the aliens. I mean, what's this second IP? Okay. Okay. Excellent. What? They didn't start. I was tricked. Ah. Who? Me? It's not me. Okay, whatever. I'm not doing the intro. You know what it is. You've seen it 12 times already, which is just unforgivable. I don't know, I'm not struggling for breath. People saying I need to breathe. I don't need to breathe. I played a wind instrument when I was younger, so I've sort of practiced. I'm sort of versed in, I don't know what you call it, breathing. Pretty versed in breathing. I've been doing it for a long time. Started when I was young. Okay, this is it, lads. Yes, nice one! So the aliens have spawned in the south. I think that's correct, and the Marines have got that northern spawn actually in server room rather than warehouse, which is what we saw in round 1. Nice early armory, 2 building, probably going for those early mines just in case there's a base rush. Actually an early gorge, yes, I love seeing the gorge because it means the teams have thought about it, what they're going to do. 2-1-1 split, so probably Jimmy playing slow and steady going with the parasites, nice one onto Dover. 4 Marines in mezzanine. That's an indication that they don't really care about warehouse and just want to go aggressive. Still no mine upgrades have been bought, so the armories are very strange. Early decision there. 2 skulks in warehouse, so they've actually let those guys through, which is going to make it very difficult to hold platform. Wise guy almost gets the kill. Parasite. Oh, he's going for it. Nice one. He takes him with the parasite. Where's the med packs? That was a huge mistake not to med pack. Wise guy's really low there. He will probably be taken out, and Jimmy with the long range onto Jacob, so they're just going to spar, duel, not really do much. And these guys are so slow paced, and Fear and Tyra. Maybe they're trying to hope for oh wow, okay, so there's a lot to discuss. So maybe they're hoping for the Marines to push aggressive, then go for a base push. Jimmy comes round whilst Wise Guy gets taken out. 2 skulks in for the base push. There it is. They wanted the guys to extend, get the respawn guy ahead, and then they can have the base vulnerable. So that was really important. They've got a tunnel up to all processing where they're getting an extra harvester with the Gorge. That's awesome for the aliens. They've really thought about this game. Vexta doing really well. IP's down to 30%. Tag Wolf 7% HP. He's going to heal up. He's the commander and he's out of the chair right now, which is going to make it very difficult for them to hold in logistics. Jimmy and Wise Guy, they need to go in now. The commander's not in the chair. There's no med packs. This is the best time to fight. Go! Stop! It's too late now. The commander's in the chair. Dover and Tornal are going to be defending the back of this room. 5 skulks they're going up against. That's even the commander. Jimmy goes in a little bit early and gets sort of stuck there. Tornal, nice damage. Oh, Kilo from behind with the ranged Gorge spit. And that's really awesome. They've invested, and they need to get the Gorge on logistics, but they've invested in all processing. Let's just double check they didn't kill logistics. They did not. So this is a slow-paced game for both teams, but the aliens have got a really nice strategy at this point, and they've welded up the IP, which has slowed down the range significantly. As you can see, the elevator transfer is almost built up. Sorry, a little bit distracted there. So we've got this one guy, Fear. Wow, if Tornal doesn't see him, that was like Splinter Cell. Oh, he goes for him! Nice! Fear takes him, and then he's going to do some free damage to Mezzanine. 2 hub guys, they choose not to retreat and deal with that, so clearly they value hub more than the extractor, which is reasonable. I don't argue with that. Oh, that's mad. You don't want to assist up to warehouse at this point. Look how expensive that is. That's about 10 T-res they've spent there, and it's unlikely to be valuable. They could have assisted just up to here. That would have been maybe 3 or 4. But there was way more than they needed to. The lurks are going to be coming up pretty soon at this point. Armor 1's almost done, which is actually pretty weird. Usually we see Weapons 1 from teams. Usually the first upgrade's that Weapons 1, because it just makes it easier to clear the lurk off earlier, and maybe even kill him, rather than have that armor upgrade. I mean, it's just, it's not necessarily always better, but it's what we see, and it supports that Weapons 2, which is kind of awesome. Weapons 2 is really powerful. Armor 1 is complete. That's going to make it a lot stronger for the Marines, so the aliens are probably going to have to start up with the spurs. They need to get these spurs in play nice and soon. Jimmy, 2v1. They're hunting him, but they're slow and steady with it. The parasites are there. Jimmy drops down with the parasite already done, so that's going to happen every time. And then Vadicide, he's got the armored 1, so he's not going to get taken out too quickly, and in fact he plays well there. Dover with the 1v3 with the Gorge in play and no reload. He's going to find it very difficult to kill anyone. And 5 extractors are built, but one of them's going to get taken out in warehouse. Elevator transfer is taking damage, and I believe Mezzanine has actually already taken some damage as well. So aliens looking pretty good. They've got 4 harvesters up. Repair room's done. Observation's probably building. That's probably the one. Yep. So they've got a lot of money. They got a lot of money. Assist goes down to repair room. That's cutting off the entire location up in the north. And in fact, they actually somehow held the infestation up there. I thought it was going to be a waste of an investment, but I was wrong. Repair room 1v1 hub. You got 2 guys, actually 3 guys, 4 Marines in this general location. That's a big mistake. Go aggressive. You need to start hitting stuff. And the fact that this tunnel is still full health, and I don't think they spotted it, which is a really bad indication that the Marines are being too slow paced, a little bit too cowardly, and they just need to be more aggressive and recap, and they need to be doing more, which is a very easy thing to say. They've even beaconed there, so the armed... Oh, no! That was such a bad call. Okay, so they beaconed to save an arms lab from 1 skulk, even though it had 80% health. Tag Wolf, he's got 100 HP, he's got no armor because of that previous engagement, but he really should have maybe been a bit more brave, called one of his guys back, but the beacon's going to massively cost them. I mean, it's not just 10 T-res, it's all the map control and all the extractors they lose because they lost the map control. That's massive cost at this stage. The armor 1, weapons 1 is done, so I suppose they've got that going for them. The phase tech's quite early, especially considering they're running out of resource towers. We'll see how it goes. They've got shotguns as well, so somehow they've afforded quite a lot. Actually, yeah, they're pretty rich right now. Wise Guy with the lurk, and a Kilo with the Gorge. Oh, heal spray, just keeping him alive. Oh, he's lucky, 11% HP. A couple of heal sprays there, and he's just about alive. He keeps the lurk on full HP. That means Wise Guy and Tyra can now come into this fight. Kilo's taking massive risks going for the long-range fight. If they start turning on him, he's dead. He's got a long-range rifle and a shotgun backing up the rifle so that they can't come in. The Crag is in position, though. Any damage they do is temporary, especially with that Gorge there. Overall, Marines struggling. They've got the upgrades, but they haven't got the map control. And it's generally not looking great for the Marines right now. They're finally recapping Mezzanine. They're pushing into elevator transfer, but as soon as they do, and if Tyra gets this kill, that's going to be massive for the aliens. Vadicide actually doing a good amount of damage, getting the long range, but he gets taken out by Tyra. Elevator transfer damage is gone. They've got a Skulk just healing in base. Long range Gorge. I mean, the Gorge at this point is a little bit redundant. They've already built 5 harvesters, and in fact, they've got another one coming. In general, it's probably a mistake to do that kind of reckless push, but you know, the Gorge is essentially at this point kind of not necessary. He's valuable. He can heal the lurks up, and that's certainly some value. But you compare that to a Skulk who can just go hit extractors and force Marines to spread out. That's also valuable. So maybe it's worthwhile just to play a little bit risky and essentially suicide push with the Gorge. Nice one. These 2 Skulks have gotten through to the base. The beacon is forced again. Oh, and they've even taken out the arms lab. That is dreadful for the Marines. They're struggling now. The beacon again, huge amount of money has been invested in the arms lab and the beacons, and the map control is all gone. Look at that. They're all in this sort of bubble. Warehouse is going down. It's already lost the power. Marines have pretty much, you know, they're done. I think they're going to find it very... Oh, wow, upgrade Gorge just tied. They're going to find it very difficult to keep up. So, I mean, they lost the Gorge and then they went for the Hive build, which is strange. Obviously, the Hive build makes it so that the Gorge is very valuable. And in fact, they've got a Gorge somewhere on the map. The P-Res is there for the Fades. Jimmy, he can't see them with the Parasite, but he knows they're there. He comes in from behind. Tornel's now alone with the shotgun. Doesn't quite hit the blast to clear these guys off. And the Fades are probably going to wipe these Riflers up very easily. Look at that. Tyra's pretty much full HP. He could take that fight. I really think he could have taken that fight. Although I suppose if you think about it, what's he going to do? What's that side doing now? In fact, killing him later is, you know, slightly advantageous because it means he respawns later. So, yeah, no need to rush the kill. Here comes Tyra. He plays evasively, then the reload. He's still playing evasively until the reload. Then he's coming in for the swipes. That's pretty smart play. The swipes aren't quite as accurate as I'd like to see, but in general, pretty good combat proficiency. He got Zoloko long range, trying to well up the power node, but he's getting sniped in the back by that lurk. Finally, a bit of aggression from the Marines, something we haven't seen recently. Bringing a shotgun and a rifle into elevator transfer. Drifter is forced to retreat. Good job from the enemy commander, actually. It's tough to keep on top of all the stuff that's going on, and to bring that Drifter out just as it was about to be taken out. That was that's pretty impressive. So Fear and Wise Guy taking out the mezzanine extractor, putting Aphex down to 2. We'll be seeing no upgrades from them anytime soon, and they're even investing in med packs despite the fact that they're on 2 extractors. Biomass has started, Onos upgrade has started. You can see the aliens are preparing for the final push. The final Onos push, to be specific, with the charge and the bar bomb, and it's going to be very difficult for the Marines to hold up against that combat when that final Onos comes. I think that's pretty much a good game. You can see they're trying to make a play for Warehouse. They've even got the Phase Gate there. They've got the Enzyme Gorge and everything. That's a lot of healing with the Enzyme Gorge. Mucus Membrane is available now. I think they just upgraded the Crag Hive. So they can start getting shells as well. Everything is in place for the aliens to win this. 5 harvesters. It's just a matter of time, really. You've got Tyra and Jimmy. They're kind of hunting these riflers, especially when they're alone. That's easy kills. And this is probably another couple of easy kills. I mean, you've got the Phase Gate to worry about, but at this point, it is just 2 Marines and 1 respawn that they know about. In fact, once you know this, once you've seen this, you know there's 2 Marines completely their own position. That's a good opportunity to take out Warehouse. And the fact they've decided to defend, they're respectable. They don't really need to, and in fact, I think the stronger play is to just clear Warehouse and take away one of those extractors. In fact, even 2 of them, if they can clear platform. They didn't lose observation. They're pushing into all processing, so that's something to think about. I really think pushing Warehouse could have been a better play. There's the Gorge Bile Bomb. I don't think that's quite hitting them. Just about. And in fact, they're sort of launching themselves into it. The Cysts have been the first target after the tunnel, so the Infestation. Infestation is the clear target here. They've got to worry about the Gorge just spamming the heals onto the Fade here. I can't quite see his HP, but it's probably pretty good. One of them's down. The 2 of them down. Shotgun's going to get bile bombed. In fact, it might not even get bile bombed because they think, well, let's just push, so they won't get in position to take the shotguns back. That's a massive grind here. 2 Fades and a Lurk. And here comes the Gorge, and then a guy comes out, another guy comes out, another guy comes out. The Lurk goes down. Really nice from Tornel. Shotgun blasts. And the bile bomb needs to be spammed, and the Skulk is going for it as well. The Phase Gate is the target. The Phase just flying about, playing evasively. And that Phase Gate is doomed. And Kilo even survives. So usually the first target's the Gorge because he does significant damage, and you can't afford him to keep him near your buildings. And here's the push. Here's the push. 3 Marines. There's no Phase Gate behind them, so once this push is dealt with, it's either significantly strong, they take out some spurs and some stuff, or it's over because they've got no Phase Gate to reinforce. And it looks like with 2 riflers at the back of the room with 5 aliens on top of them, that fight is over. And so this is the map control. They're holding Warehouse and Mezzanine, but they've pretty much got nothing. Platform is built. They've got 4 extractors, but the aliens have got, well, they've got 4 harvesters built, but they've got the potential for another 2, maybe even 3. It's just a matter of time. The Onos is surely coming out anytime soon. So you got Fear. That's not Fear. Fear's got 63 P-res. Can you guys see the stream? That's really irritating, Zephram. Right, I'm turning that off. I'm turning that off later. So, they're going for a hub play. You've got 5 Marines in here going for the phase gate. The Fades are straight away in. They're not taking any damage. Look at their full health, and there's 5 Marines. You've got to do some damage. You've got to do damage, guys. They're still not hurt them. That's mad. And then they just fly around and slowly pick them off. And they managed to get the phase gate up. But once, I mean, they're all going down at the same time because the health is all low. And this is the point where they're going to get stomped like dominoes. Here comes, there's 2 of them down the whatever it's called, Onos is in position to clear them up, and then Dominoes, they all go down, the phase gets vulnerable, the respawn wave will come in, assuming they've got 2 IPs, which they do, the commander's getting out to deal with it as well, and I don't even know what to think. I mean, this is the last play, surely. This is the point where you say, okay, they've got an Onos, they've got Charge, they've got Bile Bomb, they've got 4 Biomass, and 3 Shells, and 3 Spurs. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing. Okay. So you can see the Marines are hesitant to get out of their base. You've got 2 guys here, you've got 2 guys slowly coming out of platform. And probably when they do, they'll probably get picked up by the Fades. Because, I mean, look at this. The Fades aren't taking any damage. Even with Weapons 1, you've got to hit these guys to scare them off. Otherwise, you'll lose your fight every time. Nice one. Tyra has to leave the fight with 17% HP. That's a good sign. But Dover with only 11% HP. There's the beacon. So bring in those guys back. And it'd be nice to see the 5 biomass for the shield, the Ono shield and Jimmy. Wow, huge risk fighting with 20% HP, but they didn't kill him, so you know, go for it. They've actually echoed or maybe just built a crag and a whip in here, so when they push, whip's going to make it very difficult. All right, I'm dealing with that now. That's unacceptable. Oops. That's not it. There we go. Fixed that issue. So we've got Jimmy clearing up these guys. Again, it's just an issue of the Marines slowly coming out, and then as soon as they do, the Fades come in and deal with them. The Fade's actually a little bit low here, Jimmy. And Wise Guy with that lurk. I wonder what his P-res is. Wise Guy with 13 P-res. So get the lurk upgrade, guys. I mean, you've got 7 extractors. You can get the Umbra down and push them in 1. I really thought they'd clear this up with the Onos, but it looks like they aren't willing to. And then they're going to get weapons too, which is going to make it harder. So get the Umbra. Go for a fight. I think you'll take it in 1. And here's this engagement. 4 Marines, they're not quite together and they're not quite doing that much damage. Again, these Fades coming in, flying around, not taking too much damage. Faticide and Jacob, they're all alone now up against these 2 Fades, and these 2 Fades are pretty strong. They've got a lot of biomass behind them, and they're going to clear those up. The Onus is in position, he's got the Bone Shield, the IPs are camped. This is the fight now, they've taken it, and it's nice to see. There's the beacon actually. It's not going to bring anyone back, but it's going to get the respawns. Actually brings 1 guy back, and Fear can take these guys. He doesn't actually have to be scared, which is, we'll ignore the pun. Wise Guy clearing these guys up with the lurk, so that's pretty impressive. Usually you don't see lurks clearing people up at the 14-minute mark. There it is, there's the spikes, and the Soloco with no armor getting chased. Swipe comes out and finishes him off. 1 IP is killed, so... And they've actually lost a lot of Marines. 3 Marines dead, 2 Marines low health, and this is it now. Even with the beacon, it's not going to change anything. So it's interesting that the Marines refused to GG, or you know, call the concede early. There it is. I mean, it's over anyway. They've lost their Marines, but not calling it before the game was actually over. So that's interesting, and I mean, that's so nice to see, I suppose, in some ways. Obviously, it extends the viewing experience, which can be a little bit lame if it's already over. But whatever, it's their decision. And there's always potential to win. I mean, you can clear, you know, you can always win to some degree. Okay, nice one. Oh, I meant to do all this jazz. Alright, I'll go back to this view, which means you can see me. I think people prefer that, do they? Oh, we're changing server, so we're going to be on a different server. I'm not sure who that one supported. Looks like it was Vexta, which I believe was the UK guys, and they won 2-0. We'll see if it helps out Aphex on the next few fights. So I'm not logged in. For fuck's sake, bonkers. Oh, that's not quite the right button. Okay, I'm going to need the server password, so... actually, yes, I can fix this. Just going to restart my game. Alright, so what did you guys think of that? Was that good? Was that a fun game? The next ones, I mean, obviously we're going live in a couple of hours for OnLive versus Rays, which should be some really good games, because those are some awesome teams. This one seems a little bit more one-sided, and I thought Aphex would actually pick it up and do a bit better, and I suppose they did in some ways. But overall, that was some overall good plays from Vexta. I don't think I've updated their name on the thing still, because it's not letting me, which is too bad. And I used to use what's it called, open broadcasting software, and you'd set it up so that it streams the gameplay, so it's literally everything that renders. And then I started using XSplit because it has advantages and it's a little bit more professional. But now it streams the image rather than the rendering, so that now people can spam me and it appears. There's probably a way around that, considering other people do that as well. And I'll probably work that out, because people, I don't know what, some attention-starved people really want me to see their messages on stream. So that's interesting. That tells you a lot about those people, I think. Oh well, it's all for fun. Oh, I typed the password wrong. There's also an issue with the fact that if you can see me getting the password, then you can see the password, which means the server doesn't even have a password if it's being live broadcast. Then it's really just it's a speed bump rather than a security thing. Oh, you can see me like walking like an idiot. I don't like being seen, actually. There we go. Usually when I open my cast, I'm walking around, because it's easier to concentrate when I'm not even looking at anything. I just sort of walk around, I'm chatting to myself, and I fidget and stuff, so... yeah. XSplit's pretty good. Obviously it's expensive. I'm not going to complain too much, but it costs money. But you can do the scene swapping. Oh my god, scene swapping. With the hotkeys and stuff, and you can set up stuff like that, and the delay stuff's maybe a little bit more reliable, perhaps. So I am pre-caching, which is going to take time because I haven't loaded this version of NSL Summit in a while, and as we know, it takes time not just to load a map, but to load a map the first time after changing, which is too bad. So if you guys want to buy me an SSD, go for it. Yes. Okay, so the intro is loud. It does sound loud. I have thought that myself. Actually, I can probably deal with that. No, because it'll start it up. Alright, whatever. Well, forget the intro. We'll just do it next time. I'll fix that later. Alright, so I can't quite remember who won those 2 rounds. I think it was Vexta. I don't have a particularly good memory for this kind of stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure Vexta won 2-0. I know it was 2-0. I think it was Vexta. My memory is really bad at that kind of stuff. Like, you asked me about what team has what players and how they did, a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to remember. You asked me about, like, how games have gone. Maybe I'll remember. You asked me about how games are going. I generally know what I'm talking about. But you asked me 5 minutes later. I struggle. So, we're going on Summit at this point. Let me just double check I'm broadcasting the right thing, because I'm going to new to this. There we are. Summit, everyone knows Summit. If you don't know Summit, then you're new to NS2. I would hope, or have offended you. There's 2 options there. Summit's pretty standard. It's a diamond shape, so nothing too exceptional here. You've got the kind of, I do this every time. It's kind of that shape, apart from this section's got this weird bit here. It's pretty standard. Every time you get cross spawns, you either storm like that, and then crossroads is obviously a significant room, and people go around the sides, and it's all very interesting. It's usually the best map because it kind of indicates, it shows you which team is best. I mean, there's no gimmicks, there's nothing ridiculous about it. Some people think Atrium's a slightly disadvantageous spawn because these paths overall, the actual displacement, I think is the technical term, is slightly longer than something like that, I guess. I don't really know. It doesn't really bother me. I think overall the map's pretty well balanced. And if it's longer, that means it's harder to get into your base and out of, so means you're slightly more defended. I don't really know how the balance changes affected the last game. Obviously, the aliens were kind of stronger in that round where they won, so they had a lot of upgrades coming along. They had the stuff like the Onos upgrade, and the Gorge upgrade was actually a lot earlier than I expected. The Triple Spur, but I think a lot of that was just the fact that the aliens had a lot of harvesters, and that early tunnel was really important. I mean, they got a tunnel up to ore processing when they spawned in shipping, and if you think about it, that's like that distance. That they can cover through. They get the shortcut and the infestation, and the gorge builds up the harvester, and they hit a crag. That's huge. That's so much, and the Marines didn't deal with it properly. And it's sort of a high risk, high reward kind of thing. It's like a harvester you wouldn't normally take, and it's a tunnel that would be difficult to hold. And actually, I wish I had the map up now because I would like to explore that a little bit. But something that's interesting is if you sort of imagine Tram, you've got the marine spawn there, the tunnel was here, and the alien spawn was here. And actually, what that means is that the distance between that and that is actually equal. So it's kind of like no man's land, actually, which is actually really interesting. And then you got a tunnel, it creates a shortcut, so it's only about that distance to get there. And then the Marines obviously have to sort of skirt around through North Platform and nonsense like that. And that's really interesting, actually. I've not really seen that before, but the tunnel to ore processing makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. We are on Summit at the moment. I am ready. Both teams should be ready pretty soon. I mean, they took 5 minutes maybe between rounds, which is fair. You know, you've got to discuss how you're going to win this round. Certainly, Aphex need to be discussing. Okay, so what did we do wrong? How are we going to change that? And how are we going to do better this time? I think overall they just need to make sure they're hitting. That they need to step up their accuracy, because certainly there were times when they were not doing enough damage, and in fact there were times I was pointing out when they were doing no damage, which is too much. That's significant. That needs to be addressed. That first round, that was actually probably their best round, was that first round after the first few minutes. So obviously they kind of sucked on Marines a little bit. Or was it? Yeah, it was Marines. They seem to have swapped teams. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm getting confused. Yeah, so they were on Marines, and they had that first engagement that they lost. Oh no, they were aliens. Yeah, they were aliens. That makes sense now. So they killed a Marine. Ah, whatever. I can't remember. I told you I can't remember this stuff very well. Maybe I'm just drunk or something. Overall, they got a lot stronger, but it took a warm-up, and after the warm-up session, after that amount of time, they kind of were already losing, and it was too difficult to catch up at that point. And they kind of almost did with the extractor kills, which is vital when you're losing. At that early stage, you've got to take on the extractors, but wasn't quite enough. Hopefully these teams go live soon, though. Okay, I guess I'll read chat, see what you guys are thinking. SSD won't do you any good for pre-caching. Pure CPU. Is that true? I mean, my buddy's got an SSD and he loads within seconds, and I can take maybe a minute. And he does have a generally better computer than me, but I think the SSD is probably the thing that's making it 10 times faster. I don't know. I've got to. I mean, surely an SSD makes things faster, even if it's. You say it's pure CPU. I'm not sure. More cam. Yeah, I'm not particularly comfortable with the camera. I'm not used to it. I'll do it a bit more later, but maybe not right now. Okay, so we got to the stage where we all just want to watch NS2. Games aren't quite ready yet. We're going into map 2. Aphex obviously want to win these next two, and it would be really nice for them to come away with a 2-2, because that's a full stop where they've said, okay, we sucked a little bit at the start, we turned it around, and we're just as good as these guys, and we can actually take this entire thing. And you don't want to come out of the first match having a significant loss, like a 4-0, even a 3-1 could be a little bit demoralising to see early on. You really want to see some at least a draw. So it's extremely important to Aphex to get these next rounds. And Vexta are obviously very happy at the moment. They just want some more points. So they're going for that 4-0 just to get them ahead of everyone else in their group. No. I don't get it. It's like it's like jokes that I don't get. So feel free to share them with me or just use them anyway and I won't understand. SSD made my pre-caching much faster, so Schlicht says it makes his faster. I'm pretty sure it does, because if my buddy loads in 6 seconds and I load in 60, and the main difference is a slightly different graphics card, blah blah blah, and an SSD, right, that's 10 times faster. How can that not be the SSD? I really I've got to think that there's something going on there. Good. Everything's good. Actually, let me see if I can turn down the volume of this intro. It might start the intro. Okay. There we go. Look how good I am at computers. I turned something down, the volume. Oh, we're going live. Oh, I need the intro. Let's go with the intro. Which button is it? I think it's that one. No, it's that one. Oh, I've done something wrong. Oh my gosh. Alright, forget the intro. Who cares? No one cares. It's just tiresome. Alright, we're going live. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm doing this right. Nice one. So we got a flight control spawn for the aliens and a data core spawn for the marines. They're going on, wow, power building. 5 marines going for this early armory. That's got to imply early mines because they're worried about, yep, there it is. And 5 skulks going north. All 5 of them. And then they're investing in the infestation, which makes sense. And, oh, the mines are early. Oh, the observatory. That's fascinating. That's a mistake in my opinion, but we'll see. I might be wrong. In general, oh, they've heard you guys. You're so loud. Okay, so they got 5 skulks. They may be looking to crush this, but there's only 2 marines who've built nothing, so there's no T-Res investment. So even if they win the fight massively, it doesn't really matter. Oh, look at them. They're doing nothing. This all of the alien team are literally doing nothing, and they're getting hunted by Jimmy, who's going to come up behind Vaticide and take him out. Really nice job from him. And there's the call to go into Leap, who's actually alone right now. He gets a kill, even though he's alone, and they... Oh, Tornal's low. 2 skulks, and they're clearing them up. They're unbelievable, and then they're going to get covered from the other side, and they've actually dealt with all 5 skulks with the fantastic hunting. Vexta, that was top quality. That was really nice. And now sub-access and vent's been built. And I realised I called it wrong. Reactor core in the top right. I get those two mixed up sometimes. Vaticide off the respawn wave. That's demoralising for Aphex. And look at this. That's a, you know, that's a play that could have done with some more thinking about. And they're even building computer labs. So Kilo on the reload. And he's even investing in the comp lab extractor straight away. 4 skulks into Crossroads. Vexta are going to be so rich very soon if combat doesn't start going in the aliens' favour very soon. This is a really bad sign. Bad sign. So aliens have called it. They want to split up a little bit more. It's a hard one to say, really, because if you lose a 5v2, what do? You aren't going to win a 2v2, and you can't invest more people to win them, so they've actually won a 2v1 there, which is nice. One guy getting through to Richter core doing some damage. And Comp Lab, oh, look at that. Early harass onto the Harvester. Fear and Kilo, they did this last time, I believe, as well. Phase Tech started. Phase Tech started. I did say that would probably be a mistake, but I'm going to be wrong because they've got so much money they can afford it, so ignore that call. Tyra takes out the guy that was taking on the extractor. Comp Lab will go down. Yep, Comp Lab will go down. Vaticide now probably taking a 2v1 and will get taken out. If he'd gone for a quick escape, he might have been alright, but he actually went for a sneak attack up against 2. I wouldn't have advised that, but it's hard to say in the heat at the moment exactly what's the best call ever. Drifter coming into Atrium. Tyra's seen it. Commander's seen that Tyra's seen it. 50% HP. Armor's gone, so might actually take it with the next rifle round. Gets away, almost takes it out, almost. That would have been a huge deficit in cost. Overall, Marines sitting on 7 extractors. This could be an early Marine win. I mean, they've got everything they need right now. They just need to set up their arms lab. I wish I had the science tree for the Marines, but I don't actually have that. There's no arms lab, so that's a big mistake. I mean, that could cost them. That could really cost them. Phase Tech's, you know, it's good, but you can't just force it. You've got to actually earn it a little bit. And in Comp Lab, they pretty much earn it, but when the lurks come out, if they ever do, because they're in a 1 harvester. Oh, they've lost the flight control harvester. The lurks are going to come out eventually, and the Marines are going to have no upgrades. It's going to make it very difficult to hold the phase gates. So obviously the phase gates are there to reinforce when you lose fights, but if you're losing the fights on the phase gates, which can happen when you have no upgrades, then you're liable to lose those phase gates. So that's usually why I say that the early observatory is a mistake and the early phase tech's a mistake. You need the arms lab and the upgrades there to support the phase tech investment. Good job from Zoloko taking out the Extractor. It even takes the kill, and in fact we're seeing a lot of kills. 2 Extractors go down, 2 Marines go down, and a 2v1, and they've gone for the Veil. Okay, that's something to think about. So Tornal and Dover, they've each got a Veil upgrade. 1 Veil in base, and they've even spotted it, and they're actually in a position to kill it if they just rush through. It won't be mature, it's pretty recent, which means it's liable to being killed very quickly. Jacob, he only had 1 Veil, he's got his like cloaking ability. But he's not silent, so they spotted him pretty quickly. Fear and Kilo rotating around, so they've gone all the way around, trying to get in position for this Veil. Obviously, it's nice to just hold in this kind of area and take on the Veil. There is the target. That's maybe a little bit premature. You've got a Skulk to deal with still, and you are alone. So they've done a little bit of damage. I think it was I mean, he didn't shoot it that much. That's 85% only after a couple of blasts. That shows you just how weak they can be straight away. Aliens, again, have done a fantastic job. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. They kind of sucked in combat. Marines took a bunch of Extractors, and then they sort of killed a bunch of Extractors. But it's kind of too late. So, probably be seeing a pretty similar resolution to the first round that we're seeing now. Vaticide comes out, takes a mine. He's on 20% HP. If they shoot him a little bit, he's actually on 45%. So I'm way off with my estimation. But they should have done more damage and sent him to 20%. That was my thinking. Fear and Kilo in position to deal with the Harvester, but it's not actually been built. So that's a really... probably a mistake. I mean, it might have got taken out then, but you still got to invest in it. Double lurk play, you could even be seeing triple lurk play just to try and turn this game around more. Invest some Pires to try and extract some more strength from your money. Tyro moves north. Atrium is now vulnerable if he can do a little bit more damage and clear the reinforcement wave to him. Shotguns are started. Still no arms. I mean, is it built arms lab? I'm looking for the arms lab and it's not there. They should be winning combat. They've got double lurk. No upgrades are done. They've got no armor or weapons. That's a great opportunity to start clearing up Marines, clear Extractors, maybe do some base pushes and turn this around. So the Aphex have everything they need to turn it around. They're obviously behind right now, but they're in a good position. I mean, there it is. There's the double lurk plate. And if they keep pushing this train round and round, that sounds like a song. But let's get into reactor. Oh, they're going for a defensive play. Oh, of course, they're losing their Veil. Fear and Kilo straight through the phase gate, going aggressive. They may die, and that's not really a big problem because they've done huge amounts of damage. Vaticide and I don't know with Dover. They're doing a lot of damage, but they're taking a lot of damage. The medpacks are coming down, so the Marines are quite rich, not significantly. I mean, they've got 4 Extractors at this point, and they've invested a lot of the savings into stuff like phase gates and shotguns, and so the medpacks come down. Oh, nice mine. Oh, double mine, actually. That's a mistake. So you don't want to obviously have your mines so close that one blows up the other, but at least you killed the Skulk. That's a nice little win for you. Looking at the map a lot, because everything's quite disparate. Every bit of combat's kind of spread out. You see, you got one guy fighting a Drifter, you got one guy fighting a Crag, and then the Lurk comes in. You got 2 guys in the comp lab position now with the phase gate. They're obviously making it very easy for them. Oh, the mine comes down, and Kilo knows Tornal's there. Oh, bad day for him. He's gonna get hunted. There's the blast. Oh, pistols, nice. So everything's a little bit more calm now. Oh, maybe not. So a little bit more calm now. A little bit more of a standoff. You can see they're investing in the shotguns now, so they don't want to sort of rush in and die. Here's Jimmy with the corner play. Can he take on Jacob? Nice sneak attack. Gets 50% blast on top of him. It's another 20%, and then finishes him off with the third. Obviously, it would have been a little bit quicker with the weapons 1, weapons 2 even. At the 7-minute mark, you can have weapons 2. Not a problem. Still no arms lab. They've actually dropped it. Atrium claimed. That's with a hallucination. Okay, that's why it's a cross. I think it makes noise, so they might be like trying to force a fake call about, you know, oh, we've got to get to Atrium, blah, blah, blah. Jacob tries to sneak round. He gets caught out. Fear does a lot of damage, takes some damage. Fake Atrium is destroyed, so don't worry about that. That's not real. The Harvester has been finally dropped, and then it's going to be dropped by the Marines, so that's not good news for them. Double lurk play. They're kind of low on energy. They've got no upgrades. In fact, they might have a Veil upgrade if they are feeling pretty snazzy with that. Vaticide and Dover, those lurks, struggling to clear these guys off the Harvester. And if they can clear that one sister, we can see there, yep, the Harvester's going down no matter what, even if they shotgun blast or not. And it's not even built, so they're not even sucking res all that time. Tyro and Kilo, look at the positioning. Just playing long range with the shotgun, somehow scaring lurks off at long range. Where's this arms lab? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Finally getting the armor 1. It's late. It's late. I mean, that could have cost them, and I think at this point now they're getting the upgrades along. Probably won't. Oh, what the heck? I thought he was on top there. He was underneath and didn't spot the lurk flying at 1 mile an hour. This is always a bad sign. Scans in the base. Harvest is down. You've got 3 Marines trying to push in. This is an omen that things are going badly. Triple shotgun play. Vaticide comes through, loses 50% just by being spotted once. and he's going to struggle to sit on top of this hive now. Look at them, they're hunting him now, they're going around, they're spreading around, they're trying to circle and rotate, clearing the lurks. The skulks are the only options at this point. If they can clear the skulks, this is going to be a good game. Clear up the eggs, and we might be seeing a retaliation effort into the Marine base. You can see one guy's actually been called to do that. Won't be enough. There's the egg drops too, you've got a commander at this point. I don't think it'll be enough though. You've got the skulks popping out. Oh, Vexta gets a kill! That was handy, and in fact he certainly wouldn't have done if they'd had weapons and armor and stuff and all that. I really think the lateness of that is slowing down the progress, but of course they're still going to win because the fact they're so rich. Oh, what is up with that? A lot of mines have gone down to this cyst. You can see the cyst obviously pours the infestation out. Infestation clears mines, and a mine just takes out Zaloko there on the hunt for this phase gate. And they in fact infested a lot of infestation to clear these mines up, which means Tornal almost gets away. He had free reign in terms of mines for that phase gate, but he didn't go away. And again, another push. Might be trying to pick up these shotguns. In fact, we might be able to spot some of these shotguns. There's a rifle, so they've recycled one of the shotguns, coming into position where they were before. Kind of a hard thing to see. You've got Tyra 1v1, takes him. You've got the Skulk up top. Hive, you can see it's taking damage. They're dropping the eggs. These guys are nice positioning. Look at this little arena. Now the Skulks can obviously come over this section. You can see long range behind that wall. Wow, the Skulks have called it. They're going for a base push. They're going for a base push. So this is a base race. And interesting, they might be going for a phase gate to secure a defense. They may be going for a hive kill before the Marines can respond. I think it's probably going to go down before the aliens can actually get that thing down. So you can see it's on 9%, 3%. Very nice call from the Marines. Just to be brave, take it out, don't worry. Obviously they're going to rush our base, but we've got money to invest in other command chairs and all that. Very good stuff. That was really nicely done from Vexta. Clearly a stronger team. I mean, they've got great combat proficiency. They're doing really well in fights. What did we see early on was that 5 Skulk play. It was slow paced. It was, it was interesting, but it was slow paced. It wasn't quite aggressive. And I think the really important aspect is the fact that they weren't hunting. It was, the team that wins is going to be the team that hunts, unless the numbers are significantly skewed. And even though they were significantly skewed, you saw the Marine come round. He made the play. He made the investment of time. He went round, found them, cleared one up. Then the Marines finally, the Skulks finally went in. It was kind of late, and the guy was ready. He got a kill nice and early, which was nice to see. I think he survived quite a while. Tornal did some damage, and then they tried to sneak past, but they had a defender as well. Fantastic, very well played from the Vexta guys. I mean, that was just awesome to see. Clearing up 5 Skulks with 2 to 3 Marines. That was a really bad sign for the aliens, but I think that's a really big indication that the Marines are a lot stronger team. The phase gates was an interesting play. Certainly when I saw that observatory within the first couple of minutes, I was thinking, that's risky, and I thought it would be a mistake, but certainly after that big play they made, where they won the combat and made it very difficult for the aliens to do any significant damage. Hello? Am I live? Just double check something, I'm getting a red plug, so I've got to check I'm still live, otherwise I'm talking to no one. Yep, so everything's good. Okay, so we may be going live very early. Excellent, so we are going live. There we go. So we're coming up on round 4. Let's get rid of some of this writing. We've got Vexta versus Aphex on round 4, and it's a 3-0 to Vexta so far. Nice power build on the armory, which is something we saw from Vexta last time, the early mines. But we're seeing a gorge, so that's cool. Kilo did a really crucial play in the second round. Okay, so we've all seen it. It's I suppose you call it a relocate. Depends how they play it, but technically it might be relocate, might not be. They go for an armory shotgun play, I guess, or no, they went for mines and they leap into their base. This is kind of a messy, high risk, high reward play. They're doing all right. I mean, they've still got 5 Marines alive. They've got the command chair spare. They've got IP in base. How is this going to work though? Why is the mines and the shotguns are coming along finally? I mean, have they tested this? It looks like the timing's all wrong. The shotguns are going to be late. The longer they take, the harder it becomes. All aliens have got to do is invest a crag and a whip. There it is. There's the whip. Into their hive to make it even harder for the Marines to clear that. And they've got a Gorge as well, so everything's looking good for the aliens. I mean, we'll see how it turns out. I should probably be watching it, sorry. One of those Marines is down, and that's huge because they don't have an IP, so he's down forever. This round is over for him, even if they win. 3 Skulks and a Gorge and a Whip. Tyra gets a nice early kill. There's another Marine down. A nice pick from Jacob there with the rifle onto one of those Skulks, but the respawn waves massively stacked this in favour of the aliens. There's a GE call. They tried to make a play. A couple of mistakes there, really. The timing and the aggressiveness. And okay, so I mean, you know, yeah, sure, go for it. Not a problem with me. I mean, it's quicker than could have been. Okay. All right. So that's round 4. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, well, we're technically still live, obviously, but we're not. So the GG's been called. People have F4'd. They're just clearing up the comm chairs to, force the game to accept the victory conditions. So at this point, it is 4-0 to Vexta. So great job to them. Obviously, they were a better team. I don't think anyone can debate that. They were so good in combat. They were winning fights all over the place. Their recapping was pretty good, although their defense was definitely a weak point. You saw them lose a lot of extractors over the course of games. Overall, they were less aggressive than they could have been at points. They had times when they were a lot stronger. They had upgrades. They had everything they needed to push, and then they didn't. Yeah, they still won, so you can't blame them too much. Yeah, something to think about. So that's round 4 done. Let me check the time because it kind of changes how I'm going to do things. So it's 9:30 at this point. I'm going live with another couple of rounds, another couple of teams, 4 rounds. On Fire versus Raze in an hour and a half, so I guess we'll all just take a break. We'll hit back for that match. That should be a really good match. Yeah, so check back in an hour and a half. But otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be heading offline. I don't know why I suck at endings, but there you go. There's my ending. Thanks for watching. Follow me and make sure you catch back in an hour and a half. And I'll see you guys next time. Have fun.